Happy Sunday. I'm not glammed up this morning, y'all. I was just working in the yard. I'm like, I'm not about to go do no makeup for TikTok. It's not that deep today. Today is rest day. I went to go see Sinners last night. I know tons of people have been asking me for my thoughts. Personally, you guys know like my videos that do better like in the algorithm. They have like the studio lighting and I record a script and everything. There is nothing that I could say about that movie that could be so carefully constructed into a script. Like I could, but when I tell you there's so many layers to that movie that I have not seen like one content creator touch on this app, and I don't scroll very long, and I know obviously there are billions of people out there, but as someone who lives in the South, who has worked in mysticism for quite a while now, quite a while for my age anyway, I don't want to say it's too long, but I remember obviously from other lifetimes, that movie, there are layers on that I have not seen not one person hit on, which takes away from the depth of understanding why Hollywood puts movies out like that. And you know, the easy answer that everybody gives away is, oh, it's their sorry guys, it's their karmic balance to do it. But I'm like, but Ryan Coogler is black, right? Michael B. Jordan is black. Both of them have been in the industry for a minute, and it makes you think that cosmically there is a balance that goes on in Hollywood. There's a balance that goes on when showing all of these films that they've been doing since the beginning of the film industry about vampires, about Frankenstein, about witches and warlocks. Like, there's nothing fake about it. It's just when you see it glamorized through Hollywood, when you're sitting in a large theater, this is a ritual playing out in front of you. And ritual is not a bad word. Everybody's scared when they hear ritual. Like, they doing rituals, y'all. Like, brushing your teeth is a ritual. But what I mean is, there is a set and setting. This is a theater. You're going in, you're sitting in your seat, you've purchased your ticket, you're making that energetic exchange to sit down and view this film. Even the way that the silver screen kind of curves, it's impacting your eyesight, therefore going into your reticular activation system. You are processing memories as you are watching. Every single person who was drawn to buy a ticket for Sinners in some way probably has some sort of ancestral memory tied to it. Does not matter what color you are, because the fact that they featured, I think what they're Chinese, I believe, even though I thought they would make them Vietnamese because I've seen more Vietnamese people in the South. But you had Irish people, you had black people. They were talking about the Choctaw in there. Like, there is a lot of heavy energy related to death and rebirth and transformation. The fact that that movie came out the same weekend that the Pope passed was not like by chance or coincidence. It was carefully planned according to the season, right? And this is the season of resurrection. We're now entering Taurus season. We just started the astrological new year. So there's a lot of energy behind that. So my first thoughts initially, the theater was packed, y'all. Like, and this movie has been out, what, like 2 weeks now? 2 weekends? I kind of had my preconceived notions about how I was going to feel about it because, like I said, like I've lived this life and I've seen this life amongst other people who are practitioners. So I'm like, I don't know how much I'm going to take of it as like just Hollywood inspiration or going into it. So anyway, in the theater, tell me why the previews lasted like 45 minutes, a good 45 minutes, and every movie was a horror movie. You know how sometimes when you go to see a film, they're like layered, like sometimes they'll show you a comedy or a romance. They were all horror movies, every last one of them. I kid you not. The last one that they showed before they started the movie was called Final Destination Bloodlines. And I'm like, how strategic? Because people who know this is about bloodlines. This whole movie is about bloodlines. The things that you are seeing happen in the spiritual realm versus the material realm are about bloodlines. So I'm like, of course they show you a freaking horror movie right before they started. Because I wouldn't count Sinners as a horror movie, but maybe I've just seen far too much at this point. Like, it doesn't like jump scare me when I see, you know, some Hollywood makeup showing a scar on the face to imply like a vampire has scratched you. Like, that's not what gives me the heebie-jeebies. The heebie-jeebies is the fact that so many people are unaware of what's going on. That's the scary part. I don't think that there is one force that runs the entire world. I think it is a blend of every material realm, every material piece of the earth that we have here, blended with the air, blended with the water, blended with metals. I don't think there's one person sitting in the room pressing a control pad. It's a blend of everything, and it's spiritual first. I think that's the important aspect of it. So anyway, the movie starts. Already they doing the red blue symbolism. Well, they started off storytelling. So the character Annie, she was storytelling about what a griot is, and I think that that's the most important part of the film, because the exchange of energy in the entertainment industry, in the music industry specifically, but also in Hollywood and acting, is the strongest level of the veil that there is. Because when you are, again, ritualistically buying a ticket, exchanging your eyesight for a story being told back to you, the person who is the director or the conductor is piercing the veil in a very spiritual way that allows entryway into your memories and your system, whether you realize what you're looking at or not. So anyway, the movie starts, and they show Smoke and Stack after that, and I see them, okay, red hat, blue hat, we already get it, left brain, right brain, Cain and Abel, same like masculine opposing shadow figures. If you're always worried about your safety, I think that ensues a problem, because this whole thing, the spiritual body, is a mental game as well. And I say it's a mental game because if you're unaware of what you're looking at, like, of course, you're probably subject to being subconsciously programmed at some point. Because if you don't know about the spirit world, if you think all that shit is just fake and, it's just for Hollywood, or it's not very, very real on every level of, the magic that's being shown to you on screen, then you probably, it may not be safe for you. It may not be safe for your psyche to try to comprehend what you're saying. But people who walk this realm very regularly, they're like, oh, again, like, they've been putting out these movies forever, y'all. This is not new. It's just with the rising of consciousness right now and people being aware what's being shown to them, they now have an opportunity to show some discernment, to see that both light and dark magic exist in this world. And that's not something everybody wants to hear right now, because they're like, oh, they doing this to y'all, they doing this to us, they doing this to us. Like, you didn't have to go buy a ticket. You didn't have to go watch the movie. You were influenced, right? For example, you could say, I was influenced to see the film. Many people ask my opinion because I talk about esoteric topics. I decode to show the layers between the things that people don't necessarily always know about that are being shown to you. But I never drive people. I try to do my best never to drive people in one direction or the other. Because just like we need light matter to exist, we also need dark matter. So, living in New Orleans myself, like, I like tell people casual, like, yeah, it's the land of the dead. Like, people are gonna be like, what do you mean they're dead? I'm like, well, we could break it down into the layers of contract. We could break it into the layers of slavery, the deep south, ancestral magic tied to underwater kingdoms, earth kingdoms as well. That land being colonized and pillaged, not just for its land, but for its magic, for its wealth, and for its abundance, only to be, put on paper. And then everybody watches one Hollywood film and suddenly they think they know everything. Like, no, y'all, you gotta go through stuff for this knowledge. You don't just get it just because. It's in your blood. The storylines play out because they're a part of your ancestral memory. And so the fact it was during Prohibition era was something that was also interesting to me, because they mentioned them working for Al Capone. And I'm like, okay. That just adds another layer for people. Like, they'll get like the mob is tied into this. They know what happens in the spiritual realm. Like, there's a lot of different layers going on. It definitely had Lovecraft Country vibes. And if y'all have noticed, Southern Gothic films with Black people in it are now coming back to the forefront. Why? Because we were the originals. And not like the originals with Klaus Michelson and Marcel and all them. There is more than one type of vampire, right? But they're not all vampires, at least not in the same way that Hollywood portrays them. Because if y'all saw, I did a video on Nicolas Cage, and I talked about how he has a tomb here in New Orleans that's shaped like a pyramid. I'm like, that's interesting, shaped like a pyramid. Why would he do that? Why would he do that in a land where they bury their dead above ground because of the sea level? Like, so then I showed y'all how he was connected to, what's his name, John Henry Irving, I believe that was his name, who was the assistant of Bram Stoker. Bram Stoker was an Irish Freemason who wrote Dracula, which is featured in Lovecraft Country. Yeah, I'm talking a little bit about sinners today. And so, the spirit world is scary for people who like just follow well, Jesus is on my side. And I'm like, yo, when I tell you the levels of religion that are enclosed around hiding, but still showing in plain sight, a lot of these practices, it's like, it's not a secret. Disney shows it to you. If Disney showing kids out here, clearly they don't have any shame in their game. It's just like, do you realize what you're looking at? And it's also not an easy thing, I would think, for people who are parents, because it's like for generations who have been told that magic is a bad thing on every aspect, and then they just give them this book and like, and go. And then they go through their life like attaching to one way of life, not understanding life is an ebb and flow of life and death. Rebirth, consciousness, awareness is the mental war. And either side is going to want you, because we're not actually talking about like a physical thing. It is a spiritual thing. It is a cosmic thing. And this cosmic thing doesn't operate off of, I like you, have a cupcake. I like you, have a cupcake. Like, it doesn't work like that. It operates in light and dark matter. That sometimes people have karma from like 7 generations ago that they're still carrying and unaware of. It could be like your great, like, y'all saw Holes, right? It could be like that, like when Stanley Yelnats and his great grandfather, whoever was supposed to carry that pig up the mountain, he's like, I don't know him, but somehow he got his karma, right? And so it's a part of it. So anyway, let me get back into Sinners. So there were a lot of layers between life and death already, like at the beginning of the movie. I wasn't too like enticed by like when they go into town and Smoke sends the little girl to go watch his car, or Stack, maybe that was Smoke or Stack, I don't know. Michael B. Jordan's the same damn person. But anyway, from that time when he was like kind of showing his dominance and authority in the town, like everybody knew who the Smokestack twins were. I'm like, you also have to think about the very beginning, the masculine and his brother, like opposing forces. It has never changed. It will always be the same. That's always going to be a part of like, you know, how this realm works. And so the part that got to me was when they introduced Sammy, right? These people, these characters that you're seeing are real, right? They're people. They're inspired by real life events. And so imagine some people end up in the same careers that they had in other lives. So think of Sammy. You see him, people have associated him with Robert Johnson, right? Because we all know the story of Robert Johnson in the Crossroads. But we also have another Sammy in 90s music who used to sing. I know y'all know that song, that I like the way you look. That song, yeah. So it doesn't mean that it's him in particular, but they take inspiration from these characters, and these characters enter into the music industry, right? The music industry is the crossroads. I mean, there's many versions of how you can perceive the crossroads, but signing a contract of exchange to utilize your talent, and your talent is anchored to your pain, right? Because that's the most, I think that was the most pivotal part of the film, was the blues, because you can't sing the blues if you don't know the blues. Like, that has to come from deep and immense trauma that you only know how to invoke spiritual, energy through by singing it out, because the vagus nerve is a part of a cosmic force that births creation. So this is why women like wail out when they're having a child. Y'all heard Peter Tosh, Bunny and the Wailer, or Bunny Wailer. Those names come from somewhere like deeply rooted and spiritual. So when they showed Sammy, and I kept thinking like, man, these stories never really stop. We see a rise of boy bands like from the 2000s coming back out right now. A lot of them who were burned by Diddy, right? There's a spiritual aspect to what he's been doing too for a very long time, which is operating as the Pope or the father figure. So like the Pope has more than one avatar, because that conscious energy is someone who is trying to rule the waters, right? The waters are the cosmic forces. They are the amniotic fluid in which we all swim in through, the life in the world. And he attempted to take that energy for himself and utilize it for his own personal gain. So anyway, I love when people come in here and try to tell me about myself. I'm like, no, not necessarily. Meanwhile, I don't make no content at all. Anyway, I digress. So I keep watching, and I notice, like, first of all, they had Saul Williams. Saul Williams was playing Jebediah. I don't remember if that was his exact name. Saul Williams is an amazing poet that, if you are into poetry or ever listen, my favorite poem to him is Said the Shotgun to the Head. And a lot of his poetry speaks to liberation amongst the trials that melanated folk have been going through in the United States specifically, but also outside of, since the beginning of time. And so I was like, that's an interesting choice to have him play this pastor. And so he already knew what Samuel wanted to do. He wanted to be freed from the construct of go to church, pray to God, work all day, don't do anything else, which you can only imagine around that time. Like, that was freedom for people to get to express the things that they had suppressed, like by the church, by this formalized structure of religion. And I'm not saying religion is bad, but it is a part of the story, it's a part of the spiritual story. So I was like, that's an interesting choice, because if y'all don't know, Saul Williams was once married to Persia White. Persia White was featured on the show Girlfriends. The reason why I find this funny is because Persia White is married to the guy who plays Klaus Michelson. So he, by way of like family, is still related to vampires, because when people play vampires, they're vampires, y'all. They're not like, you can't embody a role unless you literally are that. Y'all, they're not like, you can't embody a role unless you literally are that role. But the way that you perceive what a vampire is strictly based off of a Hollywood story. Like, you have to understand what energy exchange is, what blood exchange is, how this also works through family, who you have kids with. This is a huge part of it. Hold on, I gotta block somebody. 1 second. All right. What quote? Yes, I do consultations, guys. You can check everything in my website. The link is in my bio, my link tree. Hi, everybody. I'm just talking about Sinners. I went to go see it last night, and I said that I don't think there was a way that I could formally, like, talk about the things that I saw in the ways that I do some of my decodes, because there's too much spiritually to understand here, and a lot of people are still disconnected. Like, they went to watch the movie, and they're like, oh, I like smoke, I like stack, I like this person, I'm gonna go start practicing hoodoo. I'm like, these practices were created as a covering and a shield, and now that the veil is being completely lifted, you're gonna start to realize who's practicing and who's not. You're going to realize that even the contracts that you're associated with through your house, through your car, through your job, those are soul contracts and binds as well. So vampires don't just look like they got blood around their mouth. Some of them work at dealerships. Some of them work at universities. And this isn't to say everything is a bad thing. It's to get you to understand that there is a balance in this universe between both forces. I talked a little bit about the fact that they featured Irish people in the movie, and I thought that's interesting because there are a lot of black people who have Irish blood. They may not talk about it, they may just chalk it all up to slavery, but there are a lot of black people with Irish blood. I'm one of them. Never met that person in my family because I was like generations before me, but I do know about it. And so there are people who are Celtic, or they speak Celtic, I think that's the language, and they're also Masons, which is how I connected Bram Stoker and Dracula and all of that. Like, all of this is very real. Now, the most emotional part of the movie for me, because I can't even cover all of it, y'all. There's way too much to break down in that movie. I didn't bring my notebook and paper. I just tried to enjoy it. But the scene where Sammy sings that song, Take Me to Church, and you see like all the different generations of us doing the same cosmic dance. We're expressing our bodies, we're moving our feet, we're becoming one with the earth, we're moving all this ancestral energy of death and grief around, and you see that in like the whole room becomes transformative. Now, Ryan Coogler, I don't know what psychedelic drugs he was on, but he did something where he knew consciously if he showed different mirrors of the same things that we have been doing amongst different cultures, no matter what your background, because we understand how to work with the earth and with the spirits and with the sky and with music, even what they call like the devil's chord. It's like this dissonant tone that's actually a part of a lot of horror movies that they make, and they can inverse through music this same thing. And so when I saw that scene, like, I damn near cried in the theater. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like, I'm like, wow, y'all don't even get what you're looking at. You don't even get what you're looking at. What you're looking at is people are constantly on here asking me, like, well, who am I? How do you know all this stuff? Because I've been here before. And unfortunately, I don't say unfortunately, I'm at this age now, spiritually, where I'm starting to now be able to piece together timelines, like, why did I end up in New Orleans in the first place when I was raised in St. Louis? Where are my ancestral ties coming from? Why am I attracted to mysticism so much, and why do I have a gift for breaking this down? It's like, because you did it already. And when they make you forget these timelines, you act out the same story like a ritual theater all over again. And think about how many people are sitting in these theaters watching this movie and they don't even know that some of their lives are being acted out on screen right in front of them. Because we all live the same life. Y'all seen plenty of these videos. We're like, how are we all living the same childhood? Because we come from the same frequency. Some of us do. That doesn't mean we necessarily all operate the same, but we are a part of that. And then it's funny because before I went to the movie, I've been trying to learn that boots on the ground dance because I don't go like, I haven't been to a family reunion in years. And I'm like, I'm gonna learn a dance because I'm turning 33 this year. I'm like, by 40, I better have at least one dance, one line dance down packed that is not the Cupid shuffle or the electric slide. And then I thought the same thing that you just said, like dancing is a ritual. It's our way of staying in sync with one another and connected. And then when we see somebody like ruining it or doing it backwards like those white people did with the wobble, I was just like, child, this is why we can never stop doing the dance. And this is a shamanic thing too. If you guys ever saw the show on Amazon Prime, Undone, there's a specific episode where she talks to, I think the woman's a curandera, maybe she's something else, but she's a spiritual leader of some sort. And she tells her how we never stop doing the same dances. Y'all have seen the videos on here. Even people who second line down here, that like stomping of the feet and moving up and down, the same thing they do in church when you catch the spirit. It's the same spiritual dance they do amongst all cultures. And they mean different things, they invoke different things, but there's a reason why we do that. And then we got people walking around saying, look at them, those natives acting crazy. What the hell are they doing? Spinning in circles and hitting the ground and screaming, and what are they doing? Like, y'all, it's a cultural thing. And it doesn't matter if you don't understand it necessarily, because there is something else that is moving through you that people who are indigenous to this land understood. And I saw a guy, he tagged me in it, I went to watch his video, that Ifa, they use the same divination system that they use for computer science. So I'm like, if y'all don't understand how powerful we are and the contracts we get trapped in, not understanding, all we're doing is mimicking nature. We're doing what naturally already occurs outside. And when you don't practice that anymore, because I'm notoriously on the internet, people think I don't get what's going on. Like, if anything, sometimes I got to come back from being in that spiritual realm, the higher conscious spiritual realm where things aren't the same here. Because when I'm there, I don't want to leave. I'm like, material realm sucks. People are asleep. They're literally the Walking Dead out here. And then they'll stream The Walking Dead for 7 seasons, not understanding they're acting out the story while they're watching it. Do you agree that taking back our agreement? Yes, but you got to act out the part too. So it's like certain sovereignty, like growing your own food is a form of sovereignty. Gardening is a form of sovereignty. Teaching your children another way or back to the ancestral ways is a form of sovereignty. Self-protection doesn't always have to go back to trauma. Again, sometimes it can just come to recorrecting timelines. We don't have to do things the same, and yet we still do the same stories. We're always trying to fix something. We're always trying to repair something, but our cells already naturally know how to repair themselves. So even with the cycles of the Kali Yuga, the cosmos, because it operates on the same time, knew that there was going to come a time, which they refer to as the Eon of Horus or the Age of Awakening, that people will start to remember these ancestral practices again. They remember these songs and dances, and then they'll look at these films and be like, well, how they know? Because they were studying you the whole time. A horse named Sovereignty one. We were just in my Discord talking about the Kentucky Derby, but I didn't really comment on it because I didn't look into it much. But that's so funny. That needs to be a decode. That's funny. It depends on how you view money. Money is an energetic exchange. That's why it's moving from paper fiat back into the digital realm, because now it's exchanged in a way where you can't even physically see what you're passing. All you see is numbers. And you take those numbers and you turn them into a material thing, because consumerism habits drive creating constructs out of the things that you create. I don't think there's anything wrong with money. It's how people view money. That's how they have to understand how money has been used. This is why people are now learning to become their own bank. Because for so long, you've just been passing your energy through a middleman who's taxing on you, taking it away from you. And you can actually look up laws to see how this is written and has been solidified for hundreds of years now. The link to my Discord. Hi, Miguel. The link to my Discord is in my link tree. Exactly. You're the currency. You're the electrical brainwave. You're the consciousness that's moving. So let me get back to the movie. What else did I notice? The take me to church scene. The vampire turning, I will say, I think that was a little quick, because every vampire movie I've ever seen, they get bit and then it takes some time for them to turn. Now, Mary's ass should have known she was going to get taken going outside. And I say this, I speak to her. You know how when we describe movies, we talk about them like they're real people? It's because they are. Even though they're acting a role, they're acting out something that has already happened within the cosmos. So a lot of people have made commentary on this, like how, you know, because she was passing, she had the freedom to move back and forth. However, she still put people in danger because she left this door open, this door that she could freely pass back and forth through. Annie, which that character was so funny to me because Wumi Masako is a queen. Like, if you've ever seen Loki, if you've seen what's the other movie, not Lovecraft Country, there's another one that she's in, Black Mirror Playtest, she's a phenomenal actress. So it's like, y'all understand, a lot of these actors are initiated as well. I don't know that she is, but I do find it interesting. I find it funny, and I don't care that this is just the internet. I find it funny. She's in an interview and she was talking about how she studied hoodoo, but she says she went to this specific place. The specific place is actually a store, or was a store in New Orleans. And I'm like, huh. And then by Michael B. Jordan slipping up on the internet and telling people he's a babalao, and I'm like, I don't think he's slipping up. I kind of think it was intentional. I think they're slowly now going to be revealing in Hollywood who's who. I mean, most people already knew because they know what signs to look for. Like, you know when someone's a practicing witch. You know when someone is controlling and manipulating energy, because people who are occultists are very intentional about what they do. They don't do things by accident. The world may think it's by accident, or they think they're just like spazzing out. But a lot of times they know exactly what they're doing, because who's directing the video? Who got this idea? You could probably do a lot of that through watching old music videos. Or not old music videos, like some music videos. Kanye. I actually was going to mention him. Doja Cat in her Vegas video. Remember in Vegas, if y'all saw it, by Boz Lerman, they show, what's his name? Austin something. He plays Elvis, and they show how he went to the black church, and as a child, he would watch black people catching the spirit, and this is how he developed like his moves, like with his hips and that low voice. Big Mama Thornton, right? That was also a ritual, because remember, people don't die. Their energy just transfers. And so Shonda Ducray, who's featured in that Vegas song, she sings Big Mama Thornton's part. Very specific person that they chose to do that. She looks a lot like Kanye's mother. I thought that was really interesting. Shonda Ducray, and she passed away not too long after Doja started her Scarlet album. So when I say ritual exchange, those are the things that I'm talking about. He said Angela Bassett is the real Supreme Witch. She one of them. She's in yet another movie. I'm like, I don't even think these are movies anymore, guys. I think these actors license out their faces, and the CGI is far better than people understand that it is, and we just see them playing the same role all the time. I think law of attraction is always real, but people don't know the depth to what they're trying to manifest in this life. They'll be like, I want some money, not realizing you could be in an energetic contract for 50 years because you never found self-sovereignty, and you're always exchanging more time for more labor. Shonda Donda, and I knew that one. It's funny your name is Agora, because that makes me think of Doja Cat and Agora Hills, and Kris Jenner has a church called Agora Hills, and I was like, I think that Doja is like a clone, or a what do you call it? Like a, what are they called? I don't know what the word is, but she's an alter of Kim Kardashian, which they showed you in American Horror Story. And people like, oh, y'all, I think they're one of us. What does that even mean? One of who? Whenever people like start taking sides in their mind, that's when it becomes a problem a lot, only because they don't know the higher levels of discernment. Like, if I would tell you some of the biggest music stars you know right now are the highest level occultists, because they understand how to manipulate energy, and people are like, yeah, she's mother, yeah, he's king. Like, y'all don't even know what you're saying when you say that. You have no clue what you're saying when you say that. And you like, and when I say, this is why I break things down in detail, because everything from like the day that somebody releases something and they put it on Wikipedia, those are timestamps. The same way, like if you were going through your Akashic records, you look for numbers because numbers don't lie. They are consistent, and there are patterns. And these patterns tell a story no different than your financials and your bank account show what is important to you. So when I tell you to like use gematria and follow the numbers, it's a development system that you have to learn, right? Because the I Ching, like, it's binary code. But when you can read binary code and you understand like even words are formulated off of the same energy, you start to see why there's 231 different ciphers. There's 231 or more different ways that you could turn a letter into a word, or a word into a vibration. And then think about what that can do on your whole genetic makeup when you have thousands and thousands, probably billions of neurons in your body, specifically in your brain, that is ruling the entire conscious experience. I use a lot of different ones. My favorite ciphers are Fibonacci, Chaldean, base ciphers like ordinal. Latin I always stick to because I feel like so many systems follow Latin, especially like the creations of contracts too. So I do like Latin. Sepentary sometimes, Cipher X, Francis Bacon ciphers, and Francis Bacon wrote, if y'all have ever read The Motherland of Mu, he wrote about Atlantis a lot, and I'm like, okay, if somebody studied that, then they know mathematics, and they know mathematics in a very specific way, so I get interested in seeing the ciphers behind his name as well. But as the movie went on, you know, after everybody starts getting bid and everybody's outside and they have to be invited in, you invite things in every day. Like, for example, I'm invited in your space right now, and I'm telling you this to be honest with you. So if you feel like, oh, she might be, I'm not doing anything to you, but what I'm saying is when you scroll, especially on somebody's live or somebody's video, you are inviting them into your psyche. Anybody should know this. This is basic, like, psychology 101. You are inviting an energy in. You don't know that energy unless you know who you are. And what I mean is you can't read somebody's spirit or soul. There are reason people are mediums. They can read energy. They can read, like, the spirit of someone. Like, you can notice if somebody has black eyes. You're like, oh, they may not be all the way there. Like, there may be something darker. There's no life there. That is an exchange. And unless you either are contributing or you're taking it in and you're transmuting that energy that you're taking in from another person within you, you can be manipulated. And I'm not gonna like lie and be like, oh yeah, but I'm not doing it right now, because glamour magic is a form of manipulation. When I turn on my studio lights, that is a form of glamour magic, not to fool y'all, but to fool the algorithm. Because it'll keep me out. If I'm in the dark and I don't allow myself to be illuminated and things don't look curated, they're like, oh, she don't even see her own light. I'm not going to push her through the algorithm. She's not putting in any effort. And that's the reality of it. People do get across the algorithm, but think about people who go viral for like 1 second, right? I have massive teachings about consciousness that I need to be able to push through. And in order to do that, I got to play the game. That's a part of it. Yep. So, you know, with the whole thing about you gotta be invited in, and then they'll use emotional tactics to manipulate you to let them in the house. Like with, what was her name, Grace, when they started using her daughter as a manipulation tool, when he started like saying things to her in Chinese, through her husband's psyche, like telepathically connecting with him and saying, "Lo, I know how you like to be licked." Like, that sexual manipulation is a form of it too, which people can do. My lashes, my mom. You met my favorite actress, long story short. They're not who they think. Exactly. When people think like I have a personal vendetta against people, no, I don't. It's just time for people to start growing up, getting mature about this world. I'm not going to point the finger, they in the Illuminati, because half the people don't even know who founded the Illuminati. And the Illuminati is just a basis for a spiritual system that already existed. It was just like formalized in a book by a white guy. That's the depth of it. Adam Weishaupt, the Bavarian Illuminati in Germany, like all of that stuff were people who wanted to understand how the cosmos and manipulation and energy worked. And if you're a history buff or you like the occult, that's all it really is. Now, obviously, it can get very heavy, because think about how many people see this knowledge and read this and want to use it for themselves in a way that does not harm others, or that is not protected by bloodlines, by people who already were practicing. And it's scary for people, because they're like, does this mean I'm being gang stalked or someone's coming and get me? Like, y'all see me, right? You see what I talk about on here. If I sat every second of the day worrying about if someone was going to come and get me, I would not be living out the highest version of myself. I'd be out here scary. I'd be out here like, yeah, y'all, and I'm going to play the Got Five on this song, and, you know, I lived out here, and they coming to get, like... If you don't know who you are absolutely vulnerable for spiritual attack. But if you stand in your strength and your power, unshakable, unmovable, like they already know that you are, but what you don't act like, you become easily programmable. So they give you stupid ass shows like Pop the Balloon Challenge, right? Or they'll advertise like the Don, Julio, and Popeyes collab still, because there are people who still fall for that shit. We're too old, we're too grown up, and the internet is too manipulative at this point, where you should be able to see it is an intricate web of the nodes of the brain that you're seeing on here that are interlacing with every other energy that you see around you. And you can easily get interlaced with somebody's energy just by contact, just by manipulation. This is why spiritual people cover their head. Why in other cultures they cover their crown point, because they know people can get to you psychically. They put Pop the Balloon on Netflix. I was like, what is this? What are we doing? What are we even doing out here anymore? Like, this at this point is Ready Player One. It's a free-for-all game. And if you don't know about magic, you don't know about the occult, it doesn't even mean you don't have to go around calling yourself a witch to say you are utilizing the power of the earth on which you were born into and utilizing it as a way to grow your own personal abundance or your own spiritual knowledge, not to harm other people, but for your survival. But they say, nope, get this AI this. And this is as someone who uses AI, right? I don't abuse it though. Because everything I'm saying to you right now, this is not a script. This is me in my backyard in my pajamas, scratching my legs because I'm getting bit by mosquitoes, working in my garden, telling y'all some shit that I cannot put into one video. There's no way I could tell y'all about sinners in one video. I couldn't do it in a 10-part series. If Netflix paid me $10 million, of course I'd construct something real quick. But while I'm here being like very honest with people about this, you got to stop fearing death. That's the first part. Because if you know we reincarnate, what you're scared of? The end? There is no end. Now what? Yes. Every culture, does not matter if you're black, brown, Hindus, German, French. People know that covering your crown is a sign of protection, spiritual head protection. They want me, these bugs want me because of my thighs, because my partner does not get bit and he's skinny. And I'm like, they want me because I got blood. Now leave me alone. It's one thing I cannot stand in the South is these mosquitoes and these love bugs. I'm like, if y'all don't go away. Yeah, and I've had to die, meaning I've had to reconstruct my idea of what I think is actually going on in the world versus what I know is going on. And if you really want a lesson in what's truly like who's in charge, who's doing all this, go touch some grass. I'm being dead ass. The insult that is spread around the nation about people who they believe have psychosis. They say go touch some grass because until you become rooted back in your own humanity and understand that everything around you is a reflection and copy, you're not going to get what any of this is. Cinnamon oil spray? Okay, can I make that? I have some cinnamon. I think I have some castor oil or some sunflower oil. I might have to put it in my Levo. How do we honor our ancestors? By acting out your highest purpose. Because if your ancestors already returned back to the DNA chain in which you're a part of, that means they're not gone. They're already a part of you. You're honoring something that's in you. You can give reverence because your mind physically needs to see things to attach to an energy. Like if you put out a bowl of water for an ancestor to drink, it's because the spirit needs to be filled and consume its own memory so it can reenact what it's doing, the ebb and flow of life. I'm a Cancer, but the closest it gets to my birthday, I'm out in nature more. I go on more sacred medicine journeys. I try to hibernate in the winter and be like, I'm done with spirituality. Then the sun comes out. I'm like, oh, I'm a human again. Yes, we are. It's recycled DNA. It's a never-ending chain. The purpose of what? I was pulling up weeds from the garden. I'm like, this is what they mean when they say go touch grass. Because I bet you don't, none of y'all, well, I don't say none of y'all. A lot of people no longer have grandparents who will tell you, go outside and go pull those weeds out the grass. If they did that, you know how many people would become humbled in this life and they would stop being on the internet talking about, we in a recession. And this is not to downplay what people need. It's the consumerism habits, the I gotta impress, I need more of, that makes you forget that you need to go outside and pick some weeds and get yelled at by your grandparents because it's the only way it's gonna work at this point. It kicked you out, Miguel? I'm sorry, I don't know. Like, my kids are, they're not here at the moment, but I'm like, you know what, this is going to start being a form of punishment. I see why they told our asses to go outside now. Because that sun will humble you real quick. You'd be like, shut the fuck up and go touch the earth. Go and act with it because it has a consciousness of its own. The grass, the plants, they got their own mind and lifestyle, and they keep growing even when you pick them away, even when you act like they're not there. There is exactly yard work. Yard work is root work. And there's a billion ways to root work, you know, that are within closed practices, but it's a part of it. You need to get back in the trenches and start getting outside. You need to go in on a house with your friends around you so that y'all can all live on the same land and property and protect one another. People don't even like each other no more. They're too busy trying to be a baddie. What is baddies TV? Why are we doing that? And this is not a judgment, I think the lower realms have to exist in order for the higher realms to exist, because if you couldn't descend all the way back in hell, where else would you have to go? Y'all know that video, if you couldn't go to Bella Noche, where the hell could you go? That's how I feel about that. Community. But there's so much with that, because ego gets in the way. A lot of people, they can't be in community because everybody wants to be the chief. Not everybody's meant to be the chief. Some people are meant to be the CEO or the CFOs. Some people are meant to be the teachers. Everybody has a different role. If we could just get on one accord to understand that this is a very spiritual, magical world, and we stop trying to throw different deities into it to make our story fit, and understand it is part of a fractal universe. And this fractal universe is the cosmos. And we're here to get back rooted in the answers of everything that's already happened. We keep seeking and posting these videos about like things we're finding because we want answers. We want to know, how did we stray so far from where we were before? How are we supposed to be some of the highest cosmically intelligent beings, and yet we act like wild banshees? And I do not mean that in the indigenous way. I mean that in the ways that the real savages are the people who don't go outside. The real savages are the people who don't understand that just because you see somebody with a candle and some roots doesn't mean that they're evil. The perception of the media, the liquid crystal display, that's an entrancement all on its own. It's a mirror. If y'all have ever seen like the picture of Narcissus getting lost in his mother's reflection, this is what you do. When you don't understand what you're looking at on TV, this doesn't mean you can't watch it. But if you don't understand what you're looking at, how could you ever interpret your own story? How could you change your behaviors and habits when they're repeating the same thing? That's why I said they showed 4 or 5 movies, probably 45 minutes long, of previews back to back of horror movies before Sinners even started. Why are y'all doing that? Where's the layers? Where's the comedy movie? Where's the fun family flick? It was nothing but fucking horror movies. And I'm just like, I couldn't even look at the screen. I'm like, I'm not about to sit here and try to be programmed for 45 minutes onto what I should watch next on this episode of America is Hell. It's like, I think they do. Americans are so vulnerable because our entire reality is constantly constructed and reconstructed based off of the same spiritual principles that they try to throw into their constitutions. It's like, just go back in time a little bit. Just go in history. Don't start with slavery. Go back to Masonic structures and see where they got their inspiration from. Go back into Phoenicians, go into Sumerians, go to Babylonians. Go look into every ancient civilization you can find and find the commonalities between them. Because I guarantee you, most times it was because of power, and survival rested in those who held the knowledge. The people who didn't would suffer because of ignorance. And so, when we're looking at like our government systems, like, oh, Trump won't do this and DEI layoffs. What are you talking about? Don't you know that man is an occultist too? They all occultists. Like, it's nothing new. They understand how energy moves and how it's highly manipulated. And only a master magician could do some shit like that. Pull off an entire country voting on something that's already been decided on for like the last, 500 years, if not more. The same pharaohs reincarnate as different gods or different deities. It's like, but you're trying to still put a physical face on them. And you don't understand, a lot of people play a game of musical chairs in the astrals, and they trade places. That's why I study Crowley, because I want to know what was he doing? Not because I'm entranced by some random bald white guy in the 1930s or 1900s that was drinking goat's blood. I want to know, what were you doing? Why were you mimicking this? What did you know about these ancient civilizations that you knew that there was going to be a time coming where you could reincarnate into another body to do the same thing again? When I see someone doing the same thing repeated over and over again, there's a pattern to that. Trump became the 47th president this year. The 47th element of the periodic table is silver. Silver represents the divine feminine or the moon. The all-seeing eye, or the capstone at the top of the pyramid, represents in their system what has been removed and what will one day be restored. What does that represent? The feminine subconscious that is built on the patriarchal structure. There's a lot of people involved in this. The major players are the ones that you keep seeing all the time. The ones in your movies, the ones in your shows. Like, And this is amongst all world leaders. Don't think it's just America. I solely focus on America because it's where I live right now, but I pay attention to leaders everywhere, all over the different countries, because I want to know, like, how did they all get to these positions where it was everything a caste system? Did certain people always have power? Because then you got people on the internet talking like, yeah, we gonna take our power back. Whole time they not doing shit. You weren't born into it. Not everybody is born into it at that level, but what you can be born into is conscious behavior and awareness. Not everybody's supposed to have the same role in this life, and that's okay. I don't think most leaders want to be in that position because it is a heavy burden to carry. 27 is the arc of a star. If you look up like the mathematical measurements of a star, it's the arc of a star. Your body is the star, right? So the 27 club will represent taking an angle of that light before it reaches its full potential. He was miserable because he was doing too much. Like, how many Scarlet Woman rituals do you need to do to open up the gates to hell? We're here. It was probably easier then than now. I know who I came from because I looked at my Vedic astrology. I come from the Maga nakshatra. And remember that word MAGA, how it's being used? It's actually to denote kings and royalty. And when I saw mine, I'm like, well, why am I here? Like, you couldn't find me anything else to do. Hi, everybody. I'm here to be a leader. I'm here to be a royal. It is a part of my duty, but it is not a fun job. It is not a crown you get to put on, strutting around talking about you in charge. It's a consciousness. At its root, it is a consciousness. I've had many life cycles as many different things. I'll just say that. Many different cycles I have come back and reincarnated because my energy doesn't change. I might have a new body, but I do the same thing in every life, which is to be this motherboard bridge between those who are unaware and aware. Can you get down off me? You're dirty. Get down. Old souls are tired. We like, y'all doing this again? Again? We gotta do this again? The beginning of the astrological New Year's, Aries, represented by the ram, the head. That's why the kids are hard-headed. The ram in their head and everything. Ram is also random access memories. And the ram's head is in the shape of a uterus. You don't like blueberries. But what else can I say about sinners? If anybody has any questions about any scenes, I guess I can answer with my thoughts. It doesn't mean I know everything. It's just what I'm aware of. Making decisions for yourself versus letting somebody else do everything for you. And it doesn't mean try to take on the world all at once. It means building community. Did he recite Psalms? Was that the song? Is that what he recited? Psalms? Was it the yea, through I walk through the valley of the shadow of death? Because if it was, I think that one speaks for itself. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. It's crazy how I still remember that. I ain't been in nobody's church in like 15 years. Our Father, which art in heaven. What is the difference between heaven and hell? Hallowed be thy name. What is a hallow? What is All Hallows Day? All Souls Day? Thy kingdom come. Your work will be constructed like the great work of the United States. Thy will be done. As I say, I speak. As I speak, I create. It's a chant. A chant creates a program in a mind. Same way they had people saying the Pledge of Allegiance in school for years. It's all spells. It's all spells. Only a spell book. Just read your Constitution. That's a whole spell right there. In Canada, you cannot consent, but if you're still acting on it, it's kind of null and void. It's like saying, I'm not going to operate under your systems, and then go exchange a paper dollar at the grocery store. You gotta make it make sense. This is why these tech billionaires are becoming their own banks. This is why centralized currency is now moving to decentralized finance. These birds are always out here. They don't never go away, especially when I start talking. Language is a trip. This is why I'm like, at some point in my life, after I get done teaching all my lessons, I'm just going to go silent. Because what else is there to say? What else is there really to say right now? I have watched American Gods. Very good show. I think the second season was better. People think that they were like, this is why they took it off the air. I'm like, but they put it on the air. I don't think people think sometimes, like, and I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, like, they're not aware of what they say and how they say it. They're like, yeah, they didn't want us to see this. I'm like, then why would they allow it to be on there in the first place? Stars, I think, was the channel that it's featured on. Stars is Jewish owned. Most of these people in the industry who are Jewish, they practice the Kabbalah. They know what they're doing. Like, this whole live is about sinners. I may go ahead and upload this on YouTube. I never upload my lives, but I might do this one just because I had a lot to say about it. 1899, same story. Trapped on a ghost ship. The ghost ship is the Kerberos versus the Prometheus. The Prometheus is the light or the fire or the knowledge of the gods, learning how to access God consciousness. The Kerberos is Cerberus, the three-headed dog of hell. They also have a Kerberos program through MIT, through these gateway programs and these phones that we use. Everything has always been tracked and monitored between death and life, the underworld and the non-underworld. And they always use frequency. There's frequency around you. These birds chirping you hear outside right now are a frequency. They're a frequency you can't even hear. Nancy is Anansi, the spider god. Like Spider-Man. Wonder why they put it in a Marvel movie. I wonder why Jack Kirby put Black Panther out there. Wonder why Ryan Coogler directed all these damn movies. That man has been initiated. He is a priest. I guarantee you he is a priest. Because Michael B. Jordan already slipped out, purposely or not purposely, talking about being a priest. Ryan Coogler is definitely a priest. Because if y'all remember, even Michael B. Jordan, one of his first films that like launched his career was Hardball. And y'all know Freemasons also, that's a Masonic game. And when people are Masons, they don't all follow the same religion. Some of them practice voodoo. Some of them are Protestant. Some of them are Baptist. They all come together under the Brotherhood of Knowledge for that. There's many different groups you can be initiated into. IFA is not the only one. Ryan Coogler also cast Michael B. Jordan in all the same roles. Killmonger. The fallen brother. But when it manifested in reality, Chadwick Boseman was the one who died. Michael B. Jordan's career took off. Chadwick Boseman may have had more roles if Michael B. Jordan wasn't like his brother or opposite energy. Chadwick Boseman also played Thoth in Gods of Egypt. He also played Jackie Robinson in 42. Jackie Robinson was also featured in Lovecraft Country. If y'all remember the very first scene where Atticus is in the dream realm, and you see later on, like down the season, that Jackie Robinson, or someone who he thought was Jackie Robinson, saves his life with a baseball bat. These are all analogies because the bats are the Vatican, right? They're the vampires. They're the ones who hang upside down. They're from Transylvania. Michael B. Jordan was also in Creed. Creed is a remake of Rocky, like Rocky Balboa. Remember? If you've ever seen the movie Rocky Horror Picture Show, it's all about vampires in Transylvania. Yep. It's like repetitive of the same character, the Osiris figure. Is who Michael B. Jordan is playing, the Osiris figure who's raising into the Horus character. Because when they act out the movie, the thing happens in real life. They manifest it. That's why I kept trying to tell people what was happening with the Kendrick Lamar and Drake thing. One of them had to be sacrificed. Look at whose career is really going down right now and who's going up. It is a brother exchange. Same way Smoke and Stack. One became a vampire, the other one didn't. One lived his life and died, and the other one continued to live forever. Horus is the demiurge, like rebirthed from the Isis is marriage with the dead realm. The divine feminine is married to the masculine, but they cannot create separately. They co-create together. The same way she tried to replace Osiris's phallus with a golden phallus. Think about that in terms of currency. His gold member. Why you think Beyonce was an Austin Powers gold member? I haven't seen Ben-Hur in years. And the version I saw looked like the same creators of Prince of Egypt, I think. Another interesting thing I found in the movie was the grills, the use of grills. Teeth and the cranial nerves are connected to the brain and memory too. And there was a trend going on in this app, like 21 something in my mouth, but they were showing grills. And I remember I did a decode on it too because Nelly's song Grills came to my mind. I'm like, why are they doing this thing with teeth again? It's connected to memory. And you're probably like, why the fuck would they show? It's subconscious programming, y'all. If you actually look into like mind control and understanding like subconscious programming through imagery, repeated numbers, things like that, you can be looking at something and create a program and you don't even know what you're looking at. I just get used to seeing it all the time. So now I easily can call it out. Like if the same thing happens, for example, Fat Joe's mom just died at 77 years old. Fat Joe, I go back in my memory. I'm like, what do I know him from? Terror Squad, right? Most popular song I can think of, Lean Back. It was very popular, very mainstream media. 2 months ago, Biggie lost his mom. Well, Biggie's been gone, but his mother died, Valletta Wallace, right? So I'm like, two New York rappers, both heavy set, both with the same kind of spiritual energy on them, both lose their mother. Why is there this trend of women or divine matriarchs dying in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry? It's very, very obvious. Fat Joe was also in the show called She's Gotta Have It. It was directed by Spike Lee based off of his old movie. It was a remake of it. And there is a season 2 where they visit Puerto Rico. So they're there, and that particular season of the show, they're all accessing the ancestral realm. So they can follow you, like whoever's trying to manifest your energy or go after a certain energy, they look at the spirit realm. They're not physically looking at the person. It's like trying to destroy something or somebody. And some people go when they're meant to go. Because again, we got karmic contracts that exist generations long that people don't know about. It's always a lot going on. That's why I'm like, when people are like, where do I start? I don't know. I couldn't tell you at this point. Take a nap, because it's going to be a long ride. I've done videos on the OA before. Stop paying attention to being stalked. Why are you looking around and not looking ahead? Why are you not looking at your own goals and your sights and where you're meant to be? That's why they make horror movies and they always show somebody being stalked, because your psyche is attacking itself most of the time, waiting around for something or someone to come and get you. Whole time you're the one not moving and frozen in time. Not everybody. You just discovered who Ashira was? You did? We're gonna have to talk about that one, Demi. There are so many gods and goddesses too that people should be more aware of. Ashira is one of my favorite stories. The OA video is on my page. They're synced with other videos, because the OA, if you want like a modern day interpretation of it, Jason Isaacs, who plays Hap, is Isaac Asimov. This is his spiritual energy traveling. Isaac Asimov is one of Elon Musk's greatest inspirations. Hap was studying the multiverse. He was studying how to travel between worlds, utilizing the 5 movements, or the pentagon, or the phi. Like, you have 5 hands. Sorry, y'all, I got blueberries and dirt on my hands. But anyway, he was trying to travel dimensions. What is Elon Musk doing with SpaceX? With Grok AI? What do you think? That's interdimensional travel. So the show's not fake. It was interpreting events that are happening that people don't realize are happening right now. Well, that's where she gets her name from, that goddess Ashira. I've seen her content. It's very informative, very in-depth. Y'all should follow her. I like her a lot. She's one of the few spiritual people, women, that I've seen on this app who know about more than just one realm. What was I saying? I forgot already. I can't remember, girl. There's too much. That movie was heavy last night on my spirit. I'm not gonna lie. I cleaned my entire house. I still gotta go clean another room in the house, but I cleaned my whole house, and I wanted to work outside this morning because after seeing that movie, I'm like, if people don't understand what the ancestral realm is by this point, and understand how it's deeply tied into the media world, because people's solution for that is let's just not watch the movies at all. It's like, but we've been telling stories since the beginning of time. I don't remember anybody saying, hey, just don't go to see that Shakespeare play, or just don't go to the theater. Ritual theater is how the stories of our lives are reenacted all of the time. And once you become aware of it, you have an opportunity to change your own story. I did start the live talking off about Sinners because I went to go see it last night, but I'm not really talking about it too much anymore. The show I was talking about with interdimensional travel was the OA. Isaac Asimov was a scientist who wrote like the basis for all of your favorite sci-fi movies like Bicentennial Man and I, Robot, the Apple TV show Foundations. So he was able to see into the spiritual realm. He knew that there was going to come a time where those events happen. Now people say it's inspiration, but what is inspiration or to be inspired but to have the divine spark of wisdom that stories are always repeating themselves and there are no pauses. There's no stops. Time just keeps moving over and over again. Annie's character has a lot of background. It's just you have to know what you're looking at. She's a root worker, right? She didn't want to become a vampire. She would rather have death than to live an immortal life. Think about why there's so many vampire movies and shows coming out, why they changed even the casting for Interview with the Vampire with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. They changed that over to Jacob Anderson and Sam Reed, and two different versions of Claudia, one Bailey Bass and the other one Delaney. I can't remember her last name, but they're changing the way you perceive them because these are the way these stories were originally written. Akasha was from Egypt. She wasn't white and fair skinned like they describe her. This is why Aaliyah played that role, because that was a real role. It's connected to the Magdalene bloodline energy, which is the Isis energy. I don't have a 9 to 5, so I don't really have any takes on it. Stranger Things, I've talked about that before, MK Ultra programming. If you can control somebody's mind, you can control their timeline and their generations. It's not like they're sitting in a room thinking you're the most special person. I'll manipulate it. Everybody is a fractal energy. If you don't know your own light, it can be manipulated. If you're one of a billion neurons of cells and one of your cells misfires or gets misdirected, this changes your timeline, but you become aware of your own ability to move through the cosmos and the mystical experience that is life. You can change the direction in which energy is moving. When they show you all those movies like Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, all these, like, you realize all these like Marvel shows are government movies because they know what happens in the spiritual realm. And then they'll give you your Nick Furies and your Incredible Hulks and Spider-Mans. I'm like, they're not telling you anything but what's going on in the scientific realm, studying genetic markers and DNA and knowing how to manipulate it. Now, obviously, they're going to dramatize it and talk about somebody turning into a massive green giant. But what is also a green giant? The pan god, right? It's analogies. Most of it is analogies, y'all, to make it very fair and safe and mentally calming for you to take in. A lot of them are analogies of the same repeating stories, and they embellish them because this causes adrenaline and cortisol levels to spike because you really think that something like this is going to come out. Now, am I saying that there were not mystical creatures and things that look like something that are not human now? No. What I will tell you is the conscious realm has been lowered, DNA has been changed over time, and the manipulation of the human makeup has changed. Like, we're not the same as we were thousands of years ago. We can't breathe underwater the same way because manipulation, air, environment, everything has changed. The way that we eat, the things that we create, the artificialness of the world has completely changed the composition of the brain and the mind. When you guys say who is Ice Spice for, what are you saying? Like, what are you trying to construct around them? Are you trying to construct like an archetype of who they are? Because billions of people carry the same archetype. There are just certain ones that you see enacting it a little bit stronger than others. And that's because they're made visible by record companies and entertainment industries that know that massive programming is a part of how you entrain people. Thank you. I appreciate it, Nicole. Thank you, Chris. You guys are so nice. They always say something that they don't know. She's just in the Grand Canyon. Like, I always hear these random facts when people say, I'm like, where did you hear that? Why do you believe that just because you heard it? Don't even take everything I say as proof. Sometimes you have to know things intentionally in your spirit, and it's how you utilize the energy. Because that's another big question I get, like, well, what do you do with all of this? I've made a career out of it. I've made a career out of becoming a teacher. I've made a career out of constructing lessons. I've made a career out of helping people understand that the movement of energy is survival. It is how we continue. And if I can show you that, you can start to learn how to watch the stock market. You can start learning how to become an entrepreneur and build a business. You can stop letting everything that somebody says on TikTok deter you from enacting your highest self. I have no thoughts about Jaguar Wright. If you're at day zero, that's a good thing. Start from scratch. I am not in 2025. I am actually in the year 5099. I just look like I'm here right now. This is just tiring. I have to lower my levels of consciousness to be on the material realm. It is what it is. You want to ground yourself, go listen to some twerk music. And I'm being very honest about that. There's a reason why we use drums and beats and line dances and movements. We talked about that earlier. But I'm big, again, guys, because you know there's so many charlatans on here. I am big on y'all following your own path. Don't just follow me because I'm saying you. I'm simply sharing my experience of living in the South, being initiated into the spiritual realm without asking for it, and having the calmness to be able to verbalize the things that I've seen and allow you to make your own decision, because there is still free will. If you're constantly trying to just get out of a trap, you have to understand where your karmic ties are, where are the areas in your body that are bound, what hurts the most on you right now. If you got body parts that hurt, that can also signal something spiritual going on as well. It doesn't mean ignore it. It means that if you understand your spiritual body is an animus inside of the physical flesh, and these ailments are connected to your spiritual energy, you can learn how to heal yourself. It's very simple. I'm not from here, actually. I mean, I got people that were like Mississippi and then also the Caribbean, but then, born and raised in St. Louis. I didn't know I had any of these connections until I was merged down the Nile Delta, aka the Mississippi, into the spirit realm and found all this stuff out. I'm like, well, this is why. This is why my life is manifested the way it is. I think that there are always generations who notice that something is going to happen before it happens. The blue Kachina, the red Kachina, all of that, they show you that in the Power Rangers. They show you that in Optimus Prime. There's always opposing forces, the left and the right brain. There's always going to be two stars in the sky when we're talking about like the binary stars, right? And they represent dual energies, two cosmic forces that are doing this dance. So like, I don't sit around and be like, yeah, I hate people in the Illuminati because they tricking all of us. Like, I bought the ticket. What am I mad for? Or I'm acting out my own sovereignty by starting my own show, by, making my videos in a way that attracts people and educates them, but still also gives them fair leverage to make their own decision and click off the video at any point. I've never been religious. Did my parents make me go to church? Yes. Have I ever been truly religious? No. I have never constructed my ideas about consciousness and humanity into a box. It's just not me. I have too much feminine energy. I have masculine energy, but my feminine energy does not allow me to be so conformed that I cannot be fluid with my understanding of how every other culture plays a part in the explanation of how our universe works. I think that New Orleans is heavy ass energy, and I'm tired of always being here, and I'm ready to go on tour in other cities because I want to be here all the time. However, my moon line goes directly through New Orleans, so I got spiritual lessons here. It's my karma. I mean, like, I'm tired again. I'm waiting for some rain outside. It's Jazz Fest right now, and it's been so sunny outside. I'm like, can we just get a little bit of rain? I love summer rain. I love summer rain so much. I think men with feminine energy are probably expressing something that may have been suppressed in their bloodline. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they're a part of the cosmos just as much as we are. And there was a point where we were genderless. Like, our bodies, some of us had what they call mermaid tails. Like, we've evolved from the water coming into, again, the physical realm. And so if I'm sitting here wondering why you got this, a lot of it is conscious energy. I don't believe in a creator. I believe in creation. There's a difference. A lot of the questions, whenever somebody asks me, not just you, but anybody, they always say, do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? What does the word believe mean to y'all? Do you mean, am I influenced by? Do you mean, am I constructed by? Do you mean that I am very rooted and grounded in one specific way of thinking? I never know what people mean when they say that, because it seems to come from an inner attachment to identify with one way of thinking and never moving outside of that. Hi, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Um, I don't know. I just think words are funny. Do I believe? Do you believe? Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in contracts? Do you believe you got bills to pay at the end of this month? Because you can be like, I don't believe in bills. Okay, now what? The veil is all the way up. The bride of Christ consciousness, not Christ, but consciousness, has been lifted. She has shown her face multiple times. It's just people are catching up to the party. That's it. I feel like there's always dust. I don't know. I'm in my yard getting oxygen from the plants. I don't. When I say it feels heavy, like my whole world spiritually feels heavy all the time. I have a lot of eighth house placements. My life is revolved around death and rebirth. New Orleans is 6 feet below sea level. I got to be under pressure all the time. It's just like sometimes I'm like, I think if more people were more in tune with the spiritual realm, it wouldn't feel so heavy. But it's like working out. You know how you work out a muscle and eventually the load that felt like it was 100 pounds starts to feel like 20 after a while. It's like that. I think the Pope dying is just a representation of a greater energy. I think, not think, but the Pope is symbolizing himself as Dagon, the fish god, the god of the holy seas. This is why St. Peter's Basilica is in the Holy See, right? The Holy See, that sea, and then the Holy Sea, like the primordial waters that run the currency system, that run the energetic exchange. And the fact that that happened the same weekend Sinners came out, which is supposed to be about resurrection of the Christ consciousness, not literally Christ on a cross, because a cross is a tesseract, but this movement of time and space is starting to change now. Even they say the rings of Saturn have started to disappear, which means this construct and bind between the material earth and the spiritual heaven, now that alchemical union is dissolving into itself right now. Why y'all say he opened the gates of hell? Where do you think hell is? You don't think these gates have been open? They've been open. They symbolically do things to show the same things that have already happened. They'd be like, y'all, the Pope opened portals. They also said that like 3 times last year when everybody was like the world was gonna end. And we still out here. The crossroads, yes, are a real thing. Yeah, I think NASA did an article on it. People are fictional writers out in the universe. They be writing whatever story they want you to believe. But it does represent a greater cosmic force or energy. I'll say that. Demons, daemons. It's like, I know Damon from down the street. CERN is all, there's always a manipulation of time and space, y'all. CERN is a machine. I will be honest about that. It is a machine. But so is the womb of a woman. And that moves time and space as well. So it's not like jump scare. Like, there's always a portal being opened. Just by you coming on this live today, that technically is a portal opening because it is a dimension of time and space in which we are interacting with our phones that is opening up for you to receive a transmission that I'm giving. To me, that's just me talking my shit. But spiritually in the cosmos, that's what it is as well. Consciousness didn't end. Nothing ends. It may be hidden, but it's never ending. Why do you think I'm just conceptual? Your first impression of me is this live when I've been on this app making video for 3 years. I embody everything. I embody all the spiritual, all the logistics, all the things that you can't define by a word or a sound or a name. I love when y'all push y'all assumptions on me. Like, well, if you're so this, well, why do you hate them? Or like, who said that? Y'all said that. Don't put your perceptions on me. I'm a free thinker. I think on my own. Thank you very much. I didn't know there was a blackout in Europe. Lights out, all of the lights. I don't know. I don't claim to know everything, y'all. I speak about the world as I experience it. And I've experienced quite a lot. I've had my levels of consciousness pushed much farther than your average Joe. However, I still just like to talk like a normal human being because it's life. I just talked about the Seder Square. If y'all saw the movie Tenet, they showed this example of the Seder Square where they showed Seder, Rotas, Tenet, and Opera. And if you've seen it, it's a palindrome. It's the same events trapped into like this cosmic cube of if you've seen like a Rubik's Cube, right? You know how you can spin it and turn it and align different colors to match different frequencies? It's also a game on the mind because your mind is a box. It is a framework. And within this framework is the subconscious void where ideas and dreams are filled. When you you start to be able to become the architect, learning how your dream world is actually shaped. For example, my dream world, I don't have scary dreams. I'm always in a damn school. And I'm like, why am I always in a university? Why am I always in a college? Why am I always on a school bus? I am never anywhere else in my dreams. So when people ask me about like dreams and stuff, that's the only place, because why? It is my life's work to teach. It is my life's work to forever be in the school of life and get my tenure as a professor. It's just a part of my journey. And so I'm like, I see that. I'm like, okay, well, this is how I move in the spiritual world. If I had a dream about a school, maybe I should start working on building a school. Simple as that. My kids still babies right now, but they are they're old people in baby bodies. They are not children. Spiritually, physically, they look like children. Spiritually, I got an old man and an old woman who live with me. I don't pay attention to anything about preparing for war because it's already happening every time you read some words across the screen and it triggers you. I just don't. And I'm not saying that that's not the reality of some people, because it is. But in my world, I pay attention to what I can control right here and right now. Just because I make references doesn't mean you know me. That's all I'm saying. You're taking one impression of me, maybe a few videos if you've seen it, and constructing an idea on how I think. When I tell you there's no framework for how I think, because I think in terms of the void. I'm not like, I like them, I don't like them. Do people get on my nerves? Yes, but it's also part of my makeup. I'll probably get on other people's nerves too. They be on my videos like, she doing too much. Okay, then scroll. We don't have to interact. But my firmness is also sometimes taken as being mean as well. So I'm aware of that. Because if you don't know me, you don't know that I'm just like the most loving person in the world, but I also don't got time for ignorance. That's how I keep my balance when I'm always asked, like, well, how do you stay sane? Nature. I either eat it, or I talk to it, or I work with it. If you say so. Nobody interacts with me. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I don't fall for every superstition that I hear, because I spend a lot of time alone and I'm not easily influenced by other people's ideas. That, again, doesn't mean it's not real for some people, but for me, I don't be like, oh, let me stop. I just do it. That's just me. I'm just me. I'm not perfect at all, not even close. I'm just me. These crows are always outside, literally every time I start talking. And I'd either be like, shut the fuck up, or I just don't pay attention. I keep talking anyway. I actually smoked this morning, so if I'm a little extra hilarious, that's probably why. I need to go back to when I need to. But smoking is not the only way, y'all. You can elevate your unconscious energy by practicing Tai Chi. See, they doing it right now. I just let them do what they doing, because who am I to interrupt nature if they're real? Because people got the fear that all birds are fake. I'm like, birds been ops. Birds been ops since Sumeria. Birds been ops since Babylon. What are y'all talking about? This is New Orleans, y'all. This is the heavy, heavy spiritual realm down here. Like, I know that you probably want to hear me playing some old blues music and make it look all mystical, but like, this is New Orleans, y'all. It's spiritual in itself. Crows come around, dead people walk in the streets, people get off their ass drunk as hell and get lost in the streets of Bourbon because they want to be in tune with the spirit realm or be mounted, one of them. Kobe, you should get off this live, because I'm not giving you the answer you want and you keep asking the same question. You might want to go ask somebody else. I'm not from New Orleans technically in this life. I know that's a very loaded way to answer a question, but I moved here from St. Louis 14 years ago. I had my children here. I met my partner here. I have family ancestrally that's rooted down here. So my consciousness just brought me back here. Yeah, spiritually mounted. When spirits mount you, like when you drink some tequila, a spirit is mounting you. The spirit is a fermentation of the earth that is embodying itself through the physical flesh. This is why you act different on tequila than you do on Jack Daniels. Why you might act different on vodka and Patron shots than you do on wine. They're spirits, animus interacting with the physical. Anywhere in the South, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, anywhere that's considered the South and is close to water, I'll say. I've been here. This is I live out the generational curse every day. I live it out. My family bloodline's from Mississippi. They're also from Canada. They're also from France. They're also from the UK. They're also from Jamaica. They're also from St. Lucia. Like, everything is a generational curse. And every day I'm doing it. Every day I show up here and talk, even if the world calls me crazy. Even if I'm not physically making cash on hand from my teachings and my readings. Me just being here is doing the work. I used to think just being here is doing the work. I used to think I always had to go to another reader to tell me that. I don't. I don't need anybody to keep telling me who I am. I know what I'm here to do. Drunk people, they be on the spirit realm forever. Like, those people who are notoriously drunk, I'm not laughing at them. I'm like, if people only knew, like, what you think about, you go outside, right? The spiritual realm is all around you. Like, there's dead souls walking around. You think you're just going in the gas station. You're there, like, physically, consciously, all you see is a gas station. When all you know is you're exchanging things like tobacco, you're exchanging things like alcohol. It's a whole ritual going on in the store. You're giving offerings to a machine. You gotta laugh at it. You gotta laugh at it. You have to laugh at it, because if you don't, you're gonna get scared all the time. It is a cosmic joke. Declu is one of the main ones I've coded. Love is another family name that I have. Blue is another family name that I have. Irving. I have, like I said, I know I have Choctaw. I have French. I have two or three different Caribbean islands. Most of my ancestry is by the water. Apparently, I don't think I'm gonna do a DNA test, but South Africa has been all in my comments lately. And it could have just been because that video took off, but there was obviously a conscious reason why I chose to use South Africa as a teaching point in my video. So I'm like, I probably have some connections there too that I don't know about. We're talking about DNA that cannot be tracked simply by a blood test. Your breathing is high. You're afraid of something that might be less or more than you. You see it? Okay. Well, now that you've read my life, I'm not paying you to do it, by the way, so I wouldn't just be giving out this information for free. My breathing is high because I did not work out today. I have not been as active in my physical activity as I need to be. I also smoked. Nobody's scared of anything, baby. I'm just being a person. But see, when I talk in my videos and I'm like, and you guys, today, this is where they're like, you talking too slow. You talking too fast. Slow down. Like, I never can make y'all happy. Don't look to me for your happiness on videos. Yeah, they're always spirits. Wear them bands. I was doing the dance, so it took me like 50 tries to get that dance. I'm like, why can't I get the legs? Why can't I? And then I was like, oh, this is just like the electric slide. So let me calm down, because I think like we're trying to conceptualize these dances, and because we're not learning them the same, we're not learning them side by side with our families anymore. We're trying to learn it on the internet, which makes it harder. And I'm like, y'all can have it. Hey, bestie. You said about internet comebacks. I just sit here and think people, like, for someone to consciously, and this is assuming it's not an NPC, right? Because we know bot farms exist. But when someone, like, I think they're sitting in their bed at home and they're watching me, they've decided to stop on my video because I'm just so intriguing, right? I'm just being funny, y'all. And they decide to type something that they're feeling on their spirit and soul to me, not realizing how ignorant they sound, and they press send, and then they sit here and wait for me to respond. Like, What kind of psychotic energy is that? Like, I feel as you're breathing as high as if you're scared. Like, what are you talking about? How you know I didn't just like go use the bathroom or something? Like, how do you know I didn't just run across the yard? I could be a jerk too, though. So that's a part of my charm, I guess. Like I said, you gotta laugh at this stuff because this spiritual stuff is so heavy. Like, you literally, that's why we be joking as black people all the time, because what else can you do except laugh at the mess that goes on in this world? I don't know, y'all. People just people, I guess. Y'all couldn't figure me out if you tried. You know how I know you couldn't figure me out? Because I was going through my archives of like my old pictures, and I was looking at all the random stuff I used to do before my kids. Like, I had a picture of me skydiving. I had a picture of me going to go dance at this club called Viva in St. Louis, which is like mostly Mexican. I had a video of me like hiking. I'm like, y'all, the most y'all could put on me is being ninth house placements. The most you could put on me is having Sagittarius somewhere in my chart. Y'all can't figure me out, because for all you know, I'm gonna put on all black and go emo tomorrow, which I'll probably won't do. But like, I'm very random with my movements because I'm fluid like the ocean. I don't choose just one way. I go with the ebb and flow of life. It is a game. Conditioned stimulus. Did y'all see that woman's video? It was so good. Stimulus. Did y'all see that woman's video? It was so good. She was like walking on the street and she was talking about how like the fear state, they're like programming it to go up where they would have like these cars that stopped as she was talking. I'm like, and if more of y'all thought like this, the world would seem so much easier. So I had to go like do a quick article on my Discord about conditioned stimulus too, and like the brain's reaction systems to things that they see. I'm like, if y'all only knew how they play with people in this reality. I remember I used to say make post and like TMZ would have an article about it like 2 hours later. And I'm like, nobody has time for this game. I find it funny at times because I'm like, y'all, you just gotta let them know you see them like we see you. Like, that's why I make the posts. Like, they're like a conscious energetic exchange. Because imagine if I ignore it, right? It might go away, but it might come back up again. But if I say I can see you through the veil like you see me through the veil, they usually leave you alone after that until the next time. I can't remember what her name was. I wish you just look up conditioned stimulus, like red car, blue car, maybe. I wish I could remember her TikTok name. Trump said it's a movie and he's picking central character. Did y'all see the video or the picture he uploaded of himself as the Pope? I'm like, sir, you didn't waste no time. He wasted no time. Trump in the yellow brick road, appointing Dr. Oz. What's that book called? The Underground Adventures of Baron Trump. Think about all these people who are obsessed with the videos and now talking about what do you guys think are really beneath the pyramids? DNA. I think people just want to be told like it's some underground spaceship that's waiting to arise from the ground and take us. Like, it's DNA. When they tell you this country was built off of our backs, brick by brick, they're talking about DNA chain by DNA chain. Yeah, he pictured himself as the Pope. Trump is funny as hell to me. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know so many people like, I hate him and he's doing this now. I'm like, he's funny. He is a comedian. Just like Elon Musk is a comedian. He's not that funny. He's like a Seth Rogen. He's not like, he's not a Kevin Hart. He's not a Fluffy. He's not very funny. He's not a Cat Williams. He's more like the sideshow act. You gotta be funny to have a trickster spirit. Your mind is conditioned to have adrenaline spikes based on memories that you have that are attached to certain traumas or feelings or emotions. And so as you are interacting with your phone interface or with the world around you, sometimes like if you look for a car of a certain color, your mind is already conditioned to see that car in your head. And so if it passes by, you're going to be paranoid. Like, how did they know? Your mind already knew what it was going to see before it happened. It's called premonition. I be playing with everybody. I'm like, it preys on the weak. I will not lie about that. A lot of people don't want to hear that part. They don't want to hear that the Matrix will prey on you if you are not aware, right? I don't sit around here and say, yeah, y'all, the Matrix is out to get me because I'm saying the mother is out to get me. The false Matrix doesn't have the same power as the real Matrix. The matrix is the mother, it's the womb, it's the cosmos, it's the infinite. We have gone through our cycles of death to be rebirthed and reborn over and over again. The crazy part is we see all these movies and y'all don't even recognize the people when they're in your face. Y'all don't even recognize the people, the actors. You recognize the Beyoncés of the world. You recognize the Trumps of the world, but people don't realize, like, when the real people, the conscious ones they wrote the stories about, are here. And people kind of understood the concept with American Gods, but if I told you, hey, that person over there, they're this energy, they're this consciousness reincarnated. But no, if Kendrick Lamar throws on a crown and walks down a Tiffany's runway, it'd be like, oh yeah, he said he's not your savior. So, like, this grown little man put on a crown of thorns and played dress up. What are y'all talking about? Consciousness energy rules, and consciousness energy meaning if I'm aware, you're aware. I'm not going to leave you in the dark if you're seeking the light. I'm going to show you the way. It's very simple. People quote it all the time and yet have no clue what it actually means. They said his name was Man too. I'm like, you look like a man. Just stay where you are. I think that everything happens by the numbers because Memphis is Egypt. More than one place can exist with the same energy. The same way they had catacombs in Paris, underground tunnels and tombs, as above, so below. I just said it. Numbers don't lie. The Queen and the Pope are interconnected. The crown is the masculine or the feminine, and the Pope is the feminine. Just like you have a spiritual earth father and a spiritual father and an earth father, you have a feminine mother, like in the masculine, or not the masculine, in the physical and material realm, and the spiritual realm. They were representations of that, but they were also a false kingdom. You said Drake would beat him up. I feel like they would be like slap boxing like this, both of them. I don't think Drake a fighter neither. That's why they fight with their words, because people who are in like the material realm, who need and stuff all the time, they not afraid to punch you and knock you out. Other people got to be knocked out by their bank accounts, and that's what we're witnessing right now. I'm like, those Spotify streams ain't gonna save you. Those bots are not gonna save you, because bots generate fake energy. It's not the same thing. They're just replicating what they see. They are poets. They're poets writing love poems to one another. And I'm like, y'all don't even like the Great Mother. Y'all just like each other. Just say that. Just kiss at this point, because you're getting on my nerves. Everybody is an actor. You're an actor. We're all actors. We're pretending that this physical earth experience is all that there is when everything is spiritual. No, I can't. Y'all are funny. I think it's funny when they lie in plain sight, but also they are kind of telling you the truth. Like, they'll tell you about spiritual exchange, but write it off as a movie, like Wicked, for example. That is a very deep esoteric story, but everybody was running around in Ariana Grande cosplay, not understanding that Glinda wasn't a fairy princess. She was a sorceress. And she wasn't even the best sorceress. She was actually not good. Elphaba was the good one. And then they have a whole song called For Good. And then when you're giving it into this ritual theater that's been shown in Broadway stages across the world, people get enticed with the story and the songs, not even realizing what's happening in front of them. But I love the theater. Don't get me wrong. I am a Leo Moon. I am a Broadway kid at heart. I love a good musical, but at the same time, you're watching like, there's some shit. I love the stories. I've been reading Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, Babylonian spirits since I was a kid. I didn't know what I was reading at the time, but I've always been into the mysteries. I'm just not getting initiated in it. I'll self-initiate. I don't do groups. You're not about to tell me where to go and what to do. You should just know in your heart what's real and what's not. What feels like pure light and what feels like a distortion. It's time to act out your own stories, guys. You've been acting out the ritual play for so long. If you want to change the energy, change your story. Do something different. If you don't know how to take your power back, look at where you feel like you're lacking. Where do I feel like I'm not powerful? What is this attached to? What may have happened in my childhood or in my generations of bloodlines that have gotten me to the point where I am right now? Groups feel like blood in, blood out. Like, if you ready to go explore another group, I'm like, nope, you can't come back. Okay. Well, they have psychopomps for that. And their celebrities are psychopomps too. Like, Snoop Dogg is a psychopomp. He's Anubis. Hermanubis. That's why he carried that torch at the Olympics last year. That torch represents the light information. Anubis is guiding souls from the death to the afterlife. Same way in All the Stars with Kendrick Lamar, he's on this ship with all the souls reaching out their hands. What the fuck was that? He was pretending he was Anubis. That's why his album or his label is called Top Dog Entertainment. Same with Dr. Dre and Aftermath Records. What is Aftermath? The results of something else happening, right? It's life after death. Biggie, attached to life after death. Tupac, Hail Mary. They've been doing the spiritual shit for years. Some people embody the energy, some people don't. Some people get taken out because they don't have spiritual protection over them. Not everybody is an op-out to get you. Sometimes life is just lifing. The thugs, that word thug that you would probably mostly hear in America, is associated with the thuggies. The thuggies were groups who killed in the name of Kali, the Great Mother. Why do you think Tupac has a song called Dear Mama? He had thug life tattooed on his stomach. There's more going on than you see, more than you understand what a gangster is, because what is a warrior? Somebody who is fighting in the name of something else, good or bad. Oh, you guys see, I was pulling up weeds from the garden. I'm so random. And I thought that my green onion did not grow. And look, I found some. I was so excited. Green onion is like, it smells the best to me. I have some carrots growing. I planted some rainbow carrots. I don't know when they're coming up. They're getting bigger though. I'm excited to see what colors they come out as. I am the oracle after all. Why should I not be planting carrots for everybody seeking to enter the rabbit hole? The twins were also featured in the story of Akasha. There were redheaded twins who killed Akasha, I believe, or a part of her death, which you can see in the movie Queen of the Damned. But in Beyonce's Levi Jeans commercial, she features two redheaded twins as well. She also uses twins in Lemonade. In Yoruba, they're known as Ibei, I believe. And twin energy is like the process of mitosis, so the original dual energy that's split. If you can use and leverage both sides, the positive and negative of one energy force, it can make you more powerful. Every piece of music is spiritual. It's interacting with your spirit, good or bad, even if the music sucks. Music is a form of manipulation, taking musical notes, sounds, and vibration, and interfacing with your brain. Every piece of music you've ever heard is spiritual. Might be some stupid shit you're hearing, but it's still spiritual because it is interacting with your animus. I have tomatoes growing, Miguel. They're not big yet. I have rosemary, but this has been here for a while. But there's tons of plants back here. I don't really listen to music. I listen to my air conditioner. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I don't really listen to that much music. Like, if I do a musical decode, it's because a song popped in my head. Most of the music I listen to varies. I love classical music. I love house music. I love R&B. I love blues. I love jazz. I love electronic. I love all music, really. Not, I'm not discriminatory. There's some music I won't listen to, obviously. It's like it's wherever the energy takes me or moves me for the moment. Oh, we have basil too. It's somewhere over there. I'm not growing that one though. Oh, I have squash. You guys want to see squash? I'm so old, lady. Like, why would people on TikTok be interested in seeing some damn squash in my yard? I don't know. Let me see if I can flip the camera. So yeah. Some of these, I'm trying to see. There's a lot of baby ones growing back here. Oh, thank you. But I'm gonna hop off, guys. You know, I don't like being on here too long. I'm gonna download. I promise. I make a commitment to downloading this live and uploading it on my YouTube. I have to go record for class tonight. We have decoding class. You're gonna receive the link. For some reason, my Zoom is acting up, so you're gonna receive the link to class in your email if you already purchased a spot. That link will come to you at 8 p.m. tonight, and it's just Decoding 101 class. We're just gonna be talking about kind of the same thing we talked about today, but a little deeper level about the esoteric world and the occult. It's in my Decoding 101 section. Book your birthday decodes, guys, if you're interested. It's our May 4th, our monthly decoding class. I didn't do it last month, but we're doing it again this month. So those links will come to you this evening. I don't send them before because people want to give them a chance to still get it. Yes, if you visit my website, you can book your own decoding session. If you see today is available, do not book today because it is not available. But I do half-hour and full-hour birthday decodes. I do spiritual business consultations because I'm actually very big on the logical side of business and transmuting energy into becoming sovereign in your own right. Also do mentorship, private mentorship, 6-week program. So you guys can check that out. I don't think that is too late. You should be able to visit my website. If not, just send me a DM. We do them on FaceTime, or not FaceTime, Zoom, and you get a link, or I can send you a recording. If you want a recording, just make sure to put that in your comments when you book, and you'll get one on the day of booking. But like I said, nobody booked today because it's not available. Excuse me. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for supporting the videos. Tailored Healing TV is coming, my own TV show. It's a lot coming, but it's coming May 30th, so be sure to tune into that. I posted my first trailer yesterday, so you can check that out a little bit. Follow me on Instagram, YouTube, because that's just where I'll be posting the promotional content. I also have Substack, podcasts on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, RSS, Spotify. I also have affirmation healing tracks recorded by myself, my own voice, that you guys can also get under either Taylor DeClue or the Sound Bowl Mom on Spotify, and Apple Music as well. So thank you guys so much. Past birthday decoding to discuss something deeper, more ancient with you. Okay. All right, guys. You guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Get outside, get some sunshine, and we will talk soon.